All right, we are here, we are Galexis, and welcome. Today we speak about belonging. This is a important, large topic because it's a basic human need. You need belonging. You need to have a sense of belonging in order to survive and to thrive. In fact, people who do not feel that they belong anywhere or with anyone are living lives of loneliness, of stress, of resistance, of conflict, and yes, even of suffering, because chronic stress attracts disease and all sorts of unfortunate circumstances. So you want to have, you desire to have, and you need to have a sense of belonging. So, do you feel that you belong? Do you know what true belonging feels like? You know, we've put together some questions for you to ask yourself about belonging. And we, of course, as always, we give these to the channel to write down. So we've written down some questions. We've also written down some steps to take in order to build your sense of belonging. And so this is going to be available as a document for you so that you can stay oriented to your journey of belonging, to a greater sense of belonging. And it will, the link to this document will be beneath the blog video itself here in July 2021, all right? Now, belonging is not a topic reserved for July. It applies all the time, 24/7, every year, every month. It is something essential and basic to you. So the first way to discover your sense of belonging and explore it is to ask you the question is, to whom do you belong? Now, when you're a child, you belong to your parents, to your family, perhaps to your grandparents or guardians. You belong. You belong to them as a member of that family. Now, sometimes this belonging is riddled with difficulties and stress, because to really have a sense of belonging, you need to have a secure relationship and secure affinity to your family, to your group, to people, to places, to things. And you need to feel that this belonging or this being part of your family is natural for you, that you are accepted for who you are. And unfortunately, a lot of people are not. A lot of people come into a family, to belong into a family, and basically are taught how not to belong, or basically are shown that they don't belong unless they make all sorts of compromises and try to fit in. This can be true in adolescence with a peer group. It can be true in the business world as an adult. So to whom do you belong? Family, relatives, maybe even your generations past. You belong to a lineage. You belong to your culture, your tribe. You could even belong to your pets. They could belong to you. You belong to them. So pay attention. To whom do you belong? And then where do you belong? Now, in the ancient days, the people lived in tribes, and tribes were very small, kind of extended family type cultures. There weren't that many tribal members, but very often there was a history of their people, that of an oral tradition that was passed on, that this is their land, that they belong to the land. They belong here in this place, that they were given this place to live. This land is their land. And it was the land of their ancestors, and it's their land now. So maybe you have something like that, where your culture comes from, where your genetic upline comes from. Whether it's in the country you're living right now or not, there may be a sense of when you are in that place, you feel that sense of belonging. I belong here to this ecosystem, to this natural world, to this land here. And my family and my generations past have belonged here. And if you feel that is true for you, yes, you belong to that land. Then you also can belong to your school, to your community, to your city, to your neighborhood, to your state, to your country, your nation. You can belong to those senses of gatherings, those senses of communities on the small to the large scale. It's commonly seen, with high schools or colleges, that, your team plays against another college or college or high school or whatever. And so you're rooting for your team, our team, and you and all the others rooting for your team. You belong. You belong there. And that brings us to the third question: with whom do you belong? Do you belong to your team? Do you belong to your school, a significant other? Do you belong to your chosen culture, the people, your peeps, your tribe? Do you belong with them? Do you belong in a social network of friends? Do you belong to a political party, to a group? Do you belong to a group that is looking for the same results or have the same purpose as you, that you work with, that you belong to? Or do they hold the same philosophy as you? Could be as the same spiritual teacher, it could be the same religion, whatever that is that you feel touches you, that is accurate for you. That's with whom you belong. You can belong in nature as well, with animals. You can belong with plants. You can belong with people who work with animals or people who work with plants, if that is your focus. Now, ask yourself these too. Do you feel that you do not belong? Maybe you don't feel quite like, okay, yeah, I do belong here and there, but somehow or another it just doesn't fit right. Somehow I don't really feel that secure sense of relationship with the group or with the circumstances or the place. I don't feel totally accepted for who I am. I'm a misfit. I don't feel quite there. I feel unloved, maybe unwanted, unaccepted, unappreciated. I feel separate. I feel excluded. I'm an outsider. I'm on the fringe looking in. Do you have those feelings? Are you lonely? A lot of people rebel, and it's probably a good thing to rebel. That's when you start establishing your own individuality and your own identity, and you have to push back a little bit on your family so that your identity is not submerged with their parents and family team. So there is a certain need for rebellion. It's very important for you to distinguish yourself from others initially. But if you're still rebelling and you're in from your Saturn return and onwards, that is from age 30 on, if you're still rebelling, it's going to work against you. It's going to keep you from belonging. Your definition of belonging might have, if you are a sworn rebel, might be that in order to belong, I must compromise myself too much. And I must always push back, and I must always make sure that nobody is coercing me, nobody is taking over or dominating me. But the thing is that when that happens, when you perceive the trials and tribulations you have to go through to belong, you're not going to want to belong. But then you're going to sit on the fringe and be complaining about it and feeling unloved and not belonging. So be aware of this dichotomy. Be aware of this issue. And recognize that once you're past your first Saturn return at around 30-ish, that you are the authority. There's no need to rebel anymore. You're the authority of who you are. Even if you don't fully know yet, you never fully know, because, that's part of continuing expansion and growth that you've chosen. So you want to experience a sense of freedom from rebelling, just really owning yourself. So because you do belong. If you hadn't belonged somehow, you would probably not be here now. It's just way too stressful. Or many suicides and deaths come from the anguish of not belonging. Right? So recognize too that you're not here to achieve great financial wealth or something. You're here, your sense of belonging comes a lot from what you are here to do, and more importantly, who you are to become, what you've chosen to be. Now we've put this on the outline. All right. So one of the first things you need to do when looking at these is also recognize you do not belong to your ego. The ego facade is that this is how I want other people to see me. That is not who you really are. That is not your identity. You do not belong to that. You don't belong to any group that does not accept you for you, for who you are. Any strivings to belong with others, no matter who they are, even family, will drain you, can undermine you, and you will always feel a lack of belonging. So look around you. Where is that conflict between who you are, being accepted, and what you have to do somehow to compromise in order to, quote unquote, be accepted? You need to let that go. And you belong here on Earth. You chose to be here, even though you've come from other planetary systems. You belong to the Earth, to nature. And instead of trying to find your belonging outside of yourself, accept that you are here on Earth and you belong here. You must find your belonging first in the essence of your being. And once you find a sense of belonging to yourself, you'll be then able to get that outer belonging that you would like to have, the outer acceptance that you would like to have. So the key here is you belong to you. You are a complete system. You're a whole being. You are a light being, a child of the divine, created by God, Goddess, all that is in their own image. You are divine by your very nature. You're here with purpose and mission, with love and power, with choice and intention. You are a world into yourself. You belong to you, with you, and for you. Everything that goes on in your life has been set up by the divine to assist you to know who you are. Man, know thyself. Great old dictum. You're here to know yourself. And as you know yourself more, you belong more to yourself. If you're insecure about belonging to yourself, it might be because you've seen situations in your adolescence, most likely, or childhood, in which if you somehow or another stand up for yourself and go your own way and do your own thing, that you get rejected, that you get cast out, you get excluded, you get hurt. And so you're afraid of losing your friends, losing the support of your family. But we want to make a point here that those who are secure in who they are, those who belong to themselves, they are generally the most admired, appreciated, and valued by others. How ironic. What you experience in childhood and adolescence flips in adulthood. And in fact, those who belong to themselves generally have a tremendous capacity to manifest a whole reality that totally and completely supports and accepts them. And that's what you want. So how do you belong to you? We've mentioned a few things already, but we have specifically 7 things we want to mention. First of all, you need to start seeing yourself as this divine being, as this child of God, goddess, all that is. That you're a divine being having a physical body experience. You're not a physical person struggling to become more. You're a divine being learning how to play, how to explore, how to be, how to live, how to grow who you are in this physical plane, in this illusion. Now, a lot of people have difficulty acknowledging their spiritual self. If you have that problem, we suggest that you look in the mirror every day and look into your eyes in the mirror, because eyes are the windows of the soul, and you look in that mirror and you say, you are a divine being, beloved by God, goddess, all that is, having a physical experience in this temporary world, in this temporary lifetime. And you're on the way back home, expanding and growing and learning and loving and exploring who you are and discovering the divine within you and discovering how you are God, goddess, all that is yourself. Now, if you can say things like that to yourself and say it over and over every day, repetition is so important here, that you'll begin to kind of get a sense that you're more than just some ordinary person or ordinary this or that as you would perceive it. Everyone is precious. Everyone is beloved of the divine. Everyone. And that includes you. It's not like there are some people that are divine and other people that are pathetic and they're struggling to be divine. Okay? Everyone is. Everyone holds the light of God, goddess, all that is in their eyes. So see it in yours. Number 2, as you start to see this, if you have a child, You're a good parent. You value and love your child. You want the best for your child. Now, if that's you, a human being exploring human life, can you imagine how much more the divine would love and value you, and how much more resources that the divine has to support you, to show the love for you, to enable you to lift, to become more, to stand up on your own feet, to fulfill your potential. So put yourself temporarily, just pretend, and step into the position of God, Goddess, all that is, and look through their eyes at you. Look through the eyes of your soul. Look through the eyes of the divine at you. And see how much love there is, and how much value, and how much the divine wants you to grow and thrive and be happy, and being and totally accepting and being who you are, because God, Goddess, all that is, created you. And you're created perfectly. You're not flawed. God, Goddess, all that is, doesn't make mistakes. They do creativity. It can be messy. It can do all sorts of funny things, but what you are is so correct, so perfect. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing inadequate about you. There's no shame in being you. So start valuing and loving yourself as if you were parenting a beloved child, i.e. you. Now, number 3, affirm that you are enough. You love enough, you are enough, you do enough, you get enough, you deserve enough. You are enough. Very often in late adolescence and into early 20s, there's this feeling of that you're not deserving, that you've got to work hard, that you've got to push, drive. And that's where this inner slave driver is installed to force you, to motivate you through negative ways, to get you up off your ass to do stuff. And there's always a sense that you haven't done enough. The end of the day comes and, oh my gosh, I haven't done enough. I failed at today because I didn't do enough. So forget all that. You have done enough. And when you acknowledge that you have done enough, you can then say goodbye to the inner slave driver and motivate yourself through your own truth, through your own choices, through your own passion and desire and motivations. Now, if you need help with your motivation, need help with being enough, we do recommend that you look at our seminar on inner slave driver, and or on what we call true motivation, because you are enough. Maybe you want to achieve more, but you must take into account that the physical plane doesn't have instant gratification like the astral plane does. Okay? There's time here. So there's an evolution of time, and you're working with that. Don't blame yourself for not having everything already. That's ego. Give yourself permission to enjoy the actions and doing things and becoming and exploring that process. And then you will always acknowledge and understand, hey, I am enough. And when that happens, you feel deserving, and you can allow yourself to have more success. Number 4, build your self-esteem. And the way you do this is by doing things for you. Give yourself good downtime. Give yourself Nurture yourself. Don't nurture your ego. Okay, but nurture yourself. You can nurture your inner child, do inner child work. That's awesome about supporting yourself. You will feel so much better about yourself if you work with your inner child. If you work with your inner adolescent, if you work with your inner young adult. These inner personalities don't feel that they're enough. They have shame to struggle with. They're having effort. They don't know their boundaries. And they are needy, and they need. So in meditation, give the child what it needs. Give the adolescent what it needs. Give the young adult what it needs. And in the doing of that, you start giving yourself a sense of satiation, a sense of fulfillment, a sense of fulfilling your own needs, emotionally, energetically. If you need help with that, we also put together a seminar on healing the child and the inner personalities. And so that gives you the techniques on how to do that. And as part of this too, it also is important to establish some gentle boundaries so that others do not dominate you or undermine you, that you don't compromise yourself too much, that you don't drain your energy and lose your sense of focus, lose your direction, feel lost. You must have a sense of boundaries. And your boundaries are, in a sense, the principles by which you live by that are true to you. And that's part of finding your truth. And as you find your truth, you build your self-esteem. You feel better and better about yourself. As you establish your boundaries and don't let people martyr you and victimize you and drain you, your self-esteem grows and grows. And you become more empowered, more self-aware, more capable of doing whatever you want to do, more capable of acknowledging and accepting yourself as this luminous being that you are. Number 5, connect with your purpose. Now your purpose, the general mission that you have, is to learn who you are, i.e. that you are divine. To learn your divinity. That's an essential purpose. That's part of why you decided to become physical in the first place, is to explore that. So what you want to do is to connect with your purpose, and then you also look at, okay, how am I expanding my self-awareness, my sense of self, the ownership of my direction home, my growth, my moving towards the divine, my becoming more. And on the way, what are those dreams that are on the physical plane? The relationship dreams, the lifestyle dreams, what kind of path through this quote-unquote illusion, you don't perceive it as an illusion, but it is. What is it that you want? What stuff do you want? What experiences do you want? What's your bucket list, right? So as you connect with going home, how does that, all your bucket list, how all those things that you desire, how can that fit in with your spiritual growth and development? So you can have a sense of future. Where are you going? You're going home. You're returning to the divine. And on that path, there are a lot of experiences. Experiences, self-directed changes that you want to make. Shifts and tweaks and changes in your behaviors, in the way you think, in the way you feel. All that kind of growth. This is about being and becoming. So it's important to have a future in number 5. Number 6, is build your self-image and receive support from your spiritual team. As you build your self-image, you see yourself more and more as a divine being, and therefore you can align yourself more with your spiritual team, which consists of your soul, your higher self, your spiritual guides and friends, spiritual teachers. You've got so many that walk with you. You're really never alone. You always belong to your team, but the team is here for you. You're not here to please the team. You're here to direct the team, to support you in your growth, in your achievements of things that you really want to do. So, allow that support. Build your self-image. We did a seminar on self-image. We did a seminar on working with your spiritual team. We have all the resources there for every one of these steps. If you already are doing this work, fantastic. Just be more aware and acknowledge more of what you have done. Acknowledge the progress you have made. And finally, number 7. Number 7. You may think this is a kind of small thing. It kind of fits in, you think that it kind of fits in with, back with what, number 4, taking care of yourself and so on. Yes, you want to take care of yourself. That's what number 4 is about. You want to nurture yourself, you want to nurture your child, you want to heal, you want to become more one within yourself, become stronger, more empowered, yes. But really, in number 7, you want to have fun. You want to make this life something pleasurable, something to celebrate, something meaningful, but not in a serious way. Come on, let's have fun. And you know the old saying, well, how can angels fly? Is because they take themselves so lightly. Do that. This is not serious, harsh business. Oh yes, religions through the ages have had like people to have to sit down and meditate, or the monks have to work hard, and there's always this sense of being serious and doing what you're supposed to do, fulfilling your duty, blah, 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 blah. Well, all of that was put together by what it really is a patriarchy, is the hierarchy in which the ones at the top want the ones at the bottom and all the way down to work hard for their benefit. No, you're here to have fun. In the Hindu religion, there's Krishna, and he comes to play. It's called Leela, play. Play, it's illusion. Don't take it so damn seriously. When you can see things lightly, when you can look through a filter of humor and see the irony and the craziness and fun stuff of life, and celebrate it and enjoy yourself, laugh a lot, have fun. You don't have to have fun in the manner that a child would or an adolescent would. You're an adult. You're a spiritual being expanding and expanding. So have fun as a spiritual being. Really, it's way, way more fun than a child or adolescent idea of fun, because you're so much more aware. It's so much more magical. There's so much more miraculous things that can come to you. You play with the magic. Things just, all sorts of synchronicities and amazing magic show up for you, and just laugh and celebrate it. But you have to give yourself permission to do that. You are the authority. There's nobody you have to please. You don't have to please God, or you'll be punished. Throw that out. What you do want to do is to please yourself, not your ego. Enjoy who you are. Have fun. Give yourself permission as the authority. It's okay for me to have fun. No, it's imperative for me to have fun. It's really a major step on your spiritual journey. The higher you go, vibration-wise, the more fun you have. The more magic occurs. The more synchronicities fall into your lap. That's the way to live. And as you do these things, you really own your own belonging. You feel your place in the world. You feel their connections to everything. You feel the connection to the oneness. You feel the connection to the spiritual. You feel connections on all levels. And you can connect with other people, even if they do not hold your particular points of view or opinions. You can belong wherever you are and to whatever group or tribe you choose to, without limiting yourself. You're free, you're empowered, and you belong. And the world will come to you with love, support, appreciation, and opportunity. It's the way to be. And you will belong, doing your spiritual work, becoming the divine being consciously. So we wish for you a wonderful process, a wonderful journey, a wonderful experience of belonging. All right. May it be fun. Farewell, dear ones.